Hi, I'm Dr. Angela McBurdy of DrFlute.com, and today I am going to review a Trevor James Chanson flute. Today I'm partnering with the Flute Center of New York to review this beautiful Trevor James Chanson flute. This flute is the one I played at the beginning. It is gorgeous. Let me tell you a couple things about this. The Trevor James flute is this absolutely fabulous wooden case. Definitely the Chanson is a step-up flute. It's not the top of the line out there. It's a step-up flute, and yet I've never had a case like this. This is gorgeous. It's really beautiful, and you feel that it's very sturdy to hold your flute in it. And you have a nice purple on the inside, which of course is really beautiful. So the blonde wood with the inside is great. Now, it doesn't affect the flute sound, but I can tell you that is a nice perk for a Trevor James flute. I think I want that case. Let's take a look at this flute. Now, this head joint is called a Voce head joint, and what makes this head joint unique, it is a sterling silver head joint, but generally on step-up flutes, the lip plate and the riser are two separate pieces. A Voce head joint makes them one piece of metal, and because of that piece of metal, it gives you a little bit more sound. Now, we can decide that, whether it really does, but according to their website here, it adds mass and extra weight, and so that makes it responsive and powerful and gives you a rich, warm sound. And I'll play it for you, and let's see if it follows through with all those claims. Now, and a little added weight, it does feel slightly heavier in my hands than my flute. I have a professional model flute, and this is slightly heavier. But I will tell you, don't let that be a deciding factor if you have hand problems or if you're afraid of that extra weight. This doesn't bother me at all. This tiny bit, I know it's there, but it doesn't bother me at all. Okay, now I think just from my observation, it's a pretty steep cut of head joint right here, and I think that's going to give it more faster response time. So I'm going to play around with this a little bit, and let's talk about the response here. Let me give you a little bit more information about this flute. Its thickness is 0.16, so that's not as heavy as it can go, which is 0.18, and it's not as thin as it can go, which is 0.14, so right middle of the line. The body is a silver-plated body. Don't let that scare you. The head joint is what's going to give you the tone, and that's sterling silver. That's fabulous. The keys are also plated. It has pointed arms. It is open hole. It has your B foot. And I think it has your offset G. Now, if you notice, while I'm playing, I have the cork or the pad put in to the hole here because this is an offset G, and I don't play an offset G. So when I'm trying flutes out, if they have an offset G, I overshoot that G all the time, and it's hard to get a real feel for what it sounds like when I'm leaking air because of that. So I just put a little pad in there and closed up the hole so that while I try it, it won't affect it in any way. And when you try a flute, don't be afraid to ask for pads if they don't have pads in there. Those are little stoppers. If they don't have the little stoppers, then you just ask for them. They'll send them to you or give them to you in the store. So let's play it. Let's see if this lip plate and riser attached really makes a difference. Now I'm going to play a scale. Now, right off the bat, well, it's got an amazing sound. It really does have an amazing sound. But I think what really stands out to me from this first play, it's very responsive. It is immediate. If I were tonguing, I would be very happy, especially tonguing in that low register, because it responds immediately. Let's go up to the third octave. That too is no struggle whatsoever to get up to that high register. Really moves easily. Now, the tone itself, I think, is great. It's not my usual sound on the flute that I play on, but that doesn't mean anything. Sometimes we're in the mood for a new change, a sound that's a little different than our own. We want the new flute not to just give us the same sound we've always had, but for the new flute to give us something new. And I think this does. For me, it's brighter. It's a brighter tone quality. And I do think that the cut of this lip plate here being pretty severe straight down does give it to. If it slopes a little bit more, that isn't going to be, I think, as bright and as responsive. And I think that cut is what's going to give it to me. But also probably the lip plate and the riser being attached one piece of metal, that is what's going to give me the tone I'm looking for. Now, in today's flute market, we like a little bit of an edgier sound, and that's not the tone I was brought up with, so my first inclination is not to get an edge, but I do see that today we want flutes that can give us a little bit of that edgier sound. Let's see, can we get that? Now, I think I definitely could get an edge. There is an edge there to get. Nice, beautiful edge. What if I wanted to play something much softer? I wanted to change that tone quality and make it maybe Baroque. Can I get a Baroque sound on this flute? I think so. It can be, if I elongate my mouth and make it more of an ah sound, that gives me that a little bit more of an edge, or Baroque wood sound. Whereas if I make it more of an E on the inside, that's going to give me, that's the edge I want, and I want to see if I do that, can I get the sound I'm looking for and listening for on this flute. Let's see. Now I'm going to play softly. Can I play softly on this? Yeah, I can. I'm struggling a little bit. I feel like it's leaking just slightly. And that's just, you know, flutes need a little bit of adjustment sometimes. And often once the pads settle after you've been playing it, you need to get it adjusted as well. So that's no fault of the flute itself. It just needs a little bit of adjusting. And the G key not being where I want it to be is, for me, a little bit. I would adjust. If this were the flute that I really wanted, my hands would adjust. So don't be afraid if you're used to an inline G, and most flutes today are offset, you would adjust to it, no problem. So it just takes, you know, a little bit of time, and then it'll be like you never had an inline G ever. So I can play softly. And how about if I want to make that more of a forte? Yeah, it does all the things that I want it to do. I also enjoy the finger action. I'm a light player. I like my fingers to be very light on the keys. And this, and it could be that because I like my fingers really light, which is why I feel like for me it would need to be adjusted a little bit to adjust to my light fingers. If you're a heavier fingered player, you push them down a little bit harder than I do, it might not need any adjustment for you at all. But my hands like to be very light. I want gravity to pull them down. I don't want to push it down with my muscles. That said, I think the action of the fingers is really nice. It might be, from what I'm used to, a little bit higher, so I'd probably have to adjust to make the motion and not have glitches, just do a little bit of adjusting because it's just not what I'm used to. But I think it's very smooth. I like the motions. This is important, how you get from your C sharp down to your C and over to your E flat, how you can move. That's important. You do want to try that. Does your finger move to all those so that you can get there if you need to and back to your E flat quickly? And that seems a pretty smooth movement to me. So I like the way that sounds. Let me just do something else on here and see what are my parting feelings. Let's see if I wanted to do... I got up there to my third octave very nicely. It sounded great. So my ultimately, if I were moving to a step-up flute, this would definitely be a huge contender. Its response is great. The tone quality is bright. Now, if you're a dark player, you like to have a darker sound, and that dark sound appeals to you, maybe the sound of this one isn't the one for you. But because of the bright sound, it is right there. You can get a good tone really fast, and I think it would be great for that step-up player. So I would suggest you check out the Trevor James Chanson Model flute with a Voce head joint and see what it can do for your sound. I think it gives you the modern day edge, and you can also go to the Baroque sound at the same time in this one flute. It's got a beautiful sound. Its response is great. Your tonguing is right there. Your low register won't have that huge delay. Ta, ta, It's right there. At least it's going to make it a lot easier for you to play. So enjoy looking at the Trevor James Chanson Flute. Go to Flute Center of New York, flutecenter.com. Use my code DrFlute and get your extended trial and extended warranty and service contract. That's today's video.